Hey everyone, I am doing a book review of a new book that was released just this week on the 11th. Last week, I guess, technically, it's Monday. But it was a new book that's released just in time for Christmas season by an indie author. I was given this ARC by the Nerd Fam in return for an honest review. So this book is a romantasy book. It is heavily romance plotted, but it does have magical powers. It centers around Viking gods, and it does take place way back in the time of the Vikings. And there are powers. The gods back then were real life. They were believed to be real people that walked among them, as well as in their own realm. So there are powers happening and magical things happening in our real world, which is what makes it fantasy, but it also did incorporate lots of real life Viking traditions, which is why I was interested in the first place and why one of the parts of the story that I enjoyed the most. It takes place during Yule season, which is why I figured I'd sit in front of one of our Christmas trees. Yule season was what the Vikings celebrated in December at the turn of the seasons on the longest day of the year, and it is one of the holidays that the Christians kind of took over when they were trying to instigate their own Christian religion over the pagans. So this was something that is well known with the Viking culture. They had their own gods. You've probably heard of Odin, Thor, all of the Freya, all the famous Viking gods, and they were believed in for a long time, and then eventually they started making deals and being friends, I guess you would say, or being, can't think of the right word, like acquaintances with the Christian kings down in the mainland of Europe, and slowly Christianity kind of, well, sometimes slowly, sometimes by force, but Christianity took over the Viking people and they became Christians. So I like that this book remembers the old Viking religion and their beliefs and their customs. So this is a Yule book, which is at the same time as Christmas. I am Scandinavian. My ancestors, far back, were from Sweden and Norway. So that's another part of why I was interested in it, and I did study in Sweden in college, so that was kind of cool too. But back to the book. The story takes place when the lead huntress from a group, there's different, can't remember their word, like different tribes of Vikings that all were coming together for the Yule celebration, and the main huntress, Rasha, she was coming and she was going to be the maiden of Yule. So she was a maiden, she had been celibate her whole life, and she was coming to be the maiden of Yule and lead the celebrations. So it starts off with the big Yule log burning. They take the biggest log they can find and they light it on fire, and it burns all night long, and they have parties. There's different celebrations every night. And then they always have one main occurrence and then celebrations afterwards. And so Rasha, she is sorry, one second. She is being set up to marry the Jarl, I believe he's called. It's spelled Jarl. With her brother. Her brother set her up to marry him, but she doesn't really want to. But she is somewhat open-minded at the start of the story, and she comes down and meets him, and then things unfold from there. It does dive into some different like triggery topics, so I would look into those. There is some on and off screen mentions and instances of killing and rape, animal abuse, kind of hurting animals, I don't know, hunting, that kind of thing. So do check into those more in detail if those bother you. I would say this book has some spice in it. I'd say like 2 peppers, maybe. There is definitely some spicy scenes. I think there's like 2 or 3. It's not like over the top where it's some of the Christmas books that you read are just like all spice just because it's like a easy, quick, spicy novella. This one does have a plot line with some scenes in it. So just to let you know, there is some of that. I think it was done decently. The parts of the novel that I didn't enjoy quite as much were their interactions, I guess you'd say, once Rasha was starting to fall in love with her main male interest later on in the book. It felt kind of awkward, or I don't know if forced is the right word, but they were fated to be together, so they were in love and everything, but there was definitely her being a prominent female huntress. She was independent, she was strong, and so she didn't want to just give in to being with another man just because she was in love, which I totally understand. She didn't just want to lose her personality by being his husband. So they would fight about him controlling her, or her not having a say in her people or in her life. And then they would have one quick little argument or discussion, and then they'd be back to loving each other right away. And that, I felt like, could have been handled a little bit better, but I believe this is the author's first debut novel, and so it could just be something that she's learning how to write. I wouldn't know how to write it either. I always feel weird saying these things because, like, I couldn't do it myself, but it's a critique that I found after reading all my hundreds of books that I've read. So overall, I liked it. If you are a romantasy reader and you love spicy novels, if you like, Fourth Wing and Sarah J. Maas, like that level of spiciness, this one's great. It is a pretty easy read. It's Christmas themed, so that's fun. Yeah, and I recommend it if you are interested in like more historical romantasy, so like historical fiction. Yeah, it was good. So, I didn't even say, I gave it, I think, a 3.75. So it was good. I liked it. I didn't love it, but it was entertaining. It was good. And it is in a series, so there'll be more books coming. I don't know how many, maybe 3, but this was the first book. So yeah, hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. Bye.